All right, boom, we're back.
Well, let's
Squeeze
go.
the Neck podcast. Let's go.
Let's
My man's
go,
all ready
yes.
to rock and roll. Andre Roberto, Manowar. Do I say it in the middle or do I say it after?
Whatever
Andre,
you want to put
whatever
it.
we want.
Yeah, whatever we want.
Strength
I'm
and
fine.
conditioning coach to the
Sure,
stars of
That's
MMA.
it.
My man,
Yeah.
thank you for doing this.
Thank you very much.
So
It's a pleasure.
we've been scheduled to do this for a while. We
Yeah.
both had injuries in the meantime.
Yeah,
We had to
that's it,
reschedule, but we made it, mate. And I'm
made
very
it,
grateful for you. Before we get into anything too deep, tell us who you are.
So I'm, again, Andre Roberto, Portuguese man. I'm a strength and condition coach, especially of fighters. I've been working since, I think, 2016 on this. 2016. I used to fight Thai boxing before, from Lumpini. So seen a lot of Thai boxers, and I seen there was like a kind of gap, and there was actually nothing specific. So I start to, just like my talent fighting wasn't that great. So I was like, okay, let me see where I can fit in and just get my head down into research and search and study and trial and thing. And from there, that's just a gradual process. Of course, the strength and conditioning Thai boxing was really minimal because just the tradition, Thailand is a completely different, so it was a bit of a crossover. So of course at that time I think MMA was already advanced. Even it's not that advanced because MMA only become like the only pieces of resources is like from 2016 with Joel Jameson's and that stuff. So I was like, okay, maybe I can bring a bit of this into Thai and maybe and I done it with few, and from there that's just follow through and that's it. And now I'm dwelling more into MMA. That's why I'm here in Top Team to look after more MMA fighters and stuff, and that's it. That's what I do.
Nice. And you mentioned Top Team. We don't have the badge behind us today. We're sitting different.
Yeah.
But yeah, GB Top Team, as always,
it.
grateful to be here. So Paulo Da Silva's his name, right?
Yeah.
So shout out Paulo, mate. Been on the floor at Lupini. You know him from here or from Portugal?
I know Paulo actually from Portugal because I moved to UK in 2008. Of course, going back, I always used to do like in Portugal, is football. Yeah.
Right, of course.
If you're not good at football,
you're not worth nothing.
That's it. That's the thing. But me and my brother, we're really into K1. K1 back in the days, we're talking about Andy Sowers, all the K1, big one K1 fighters, Bukau, all that one, Remy Boyaski, all that stuff. So we always had that K1, but in Thai boxing wasn't the thing in Portugal. I think the first time I came across Thai boxing was probably through, I'm not gonna lie, a kickboxer or something.
Right.
The movie when you got the guy coming and you're all back and you're like, okay. So because there's not a tradition. But I remember like I think it's 2000 actually, that Paulo fought in Portugal. And fought a big guy in Portugal, and Paulo knocked him out with a left hook on the second round, something like that. So I knew it already, the lights of Paulo and everything, and I knew it there was a club in Crawley because I moved to Crawley. But I moved 2008, and it took me quite a while to set up in UK because it was not what I expected because I'm quite coming with a family background and thing, and suddenly I landed here, and it was only me and my partner at the time, and it was a bit of overwhelming because I didn't have anything here, so you lose a bit of your identity almost. So I was working home, trying to find my feet. And I was like, this ain't gonna last long, I'm gonna go back home. They ain't gonna last long because it was so difficult to culturally, it's quite, we are in Europe, but it's such a difference.
Very different.
Yeah, very different. And one of the things I said it to myself when I came is I cannot live like in Portugal, in England. I want to live like an English person because I'm in England. That's the whole purpose of this. So it took me a while. It took me at least 4 or 5 years to set myself. It must be 4 years because in 2012 I was like, okay. At the time I had my daughter. I was like, I need to do something. Weight piles up, and think I need to do something. I need to do something here. And I was like, I found Lumpini. I was like, let me do something in Lumpini and let me try and see it. So I found Lumpini, just went for a trial and thing, and went straight away with Paulo because I knew it. Paulo, Portuguese. Again, I think at the time I was not even looking for the fight. I was looking for something that probably I could relate a bit. Portuguese, I'm Portuguese.
How old are you talking?
So I'm 41, so I'm talking 27.
So you was young.
Yeah. I was young. So I was like, okay, let me just jump in and think. So I done it. I remember I think was a PT with Paulo something, and from there I was like, okay, let me try this. He ignite a bit of the fire on me. It's like, I think I can do this back again. And that's it. From there, I just stay in Lumpini. I think I'm in Lumpini. I don't know. I'm coaching there now, but I'm in Lumpini for 14 or 15 years.
Long time.
A long time. And lucky at that time, going back that time, Lumpini at that time, every gym go through phases. And you produce really good fighters, fades out, and you produce is like but at the time, Lumpini was one of the top gyms, even I would say in Europe, because we had pretty much one fighter in every single ranking, like number one from Paulo, Ruth, Danny Taylor's, Ben Hodge, Alan Sawyer. He was and to be privileged to actually train with them, someone that I could never fight that level. Yeah. You actually start to drink that juice and you're like, okay, this is...
Right, I got you.
This is you're like, okay.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what's interesting, one of the things with Paulo, you mentioned he knocked someone out in the second round when you first met him. He's, for his weight, like being in the lightweight, he's got a massive knockout ratio, which is crazy. But he's like... Great guy as well, by the way. Check out the episode if you can find it. But he's when you come over here, you're not interested in fighting necessarily before that.
No, I didn't have any interest of fighting.
You didn't come to England for fighting.
He was like, I didn't come for fighting or anything, and I cannot even say like my dream was to pursue this and be this strength and condition. Things just I'm quite how can I go through energies, and whatever it draws me to it, I will go it, and I will see it. And if he's there, he's there. I'm not going to force something that is not. Is a natural process, and it's been like that in life. Luckily, that is a natural process to fall into things, not rushing things, and just learning from every step. But yeah, when I went there, I didn't want to fight, and I think I trained like the 4 or 5 years that first I trained. I was quite lucky train with Paul when Paul was preparing to fight in Japan. We had another big guy there, Danny Taylor, that used to train with Paulo, and that thing wasn't sparring. That thing is full fighting thing. And I remember the first times I sparred with them sitting on and I was like, oh, yeah, this is tough and thing. But you learn so much. You just learn, and it's like a curve. And I think that's the best thing I can take from that. It was a learning curve. It's just not just learning technical and IQ of fighting, but the ethic, because Paul is still working on the gym at the time, non-stop fighting, and you just get inspired by it, and you're like, okay, I just get something. And like me, there is more people like it. Then we got George now. That George is where it is, and everyone got through that process to just absorb everything and anything, and just put it in practice in different ways, of course, because of course I didn't fight no more, but that experience take me to do what I'm doing today.
Yeah. And how long after you started in training like that did you decide, right, I'm going to be a fighter now, this is what I'm going to do?
I don't even know. We just start on and you get sucked in, and you're like... And at the beginning is hard because back in the day, I don't know if you met John. John is in charge of Lumpini. John Jarvis.
Yes, I think I did meet him.
Yeah. So John is a great coach. He's one of the best Thai coaches in UK. And at that time, the level of John towards now, because it's like everything in life, you get softer, your approach change, and through times you change the way you're coaching and think. And it's creates multiple world champions, especially in Thai boxing. His expectation of how can I phrase this? His expectations of basics is high.
Right. Okay.
If it's a job and we got a job during the part session, it will be a job. Do not mess around. Don't come with craziness, because we practice one thing.
Do it properly.
To put in practice. That's simple. And his expectation is so high that he ingrains on you, and you just from there you're like, okay, this is really good. And from there we had a fighters class. I was invited a few times, and you feel almost like a privilege. I'm here running with this world champion. You like a bit starstruck like Paul, and you're like, whoa, yes. And then from there it just come, interclub, you jump to the interclub, another interclub, and then I fought 6 or 7 times, something like that. I never took my chin pads out because I think the last time I was going to fight, COVID just struck. But I just got the thrill. That's why I realized that maybe fighting it was not exactly what I want. I had the thrill of training.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get that.
I love the training, and I love the process of training, and how can I make something better, and then study. And from there, one thing follows to other one. And you like even physiognomies. I was like, how the Thais can be so much more explosive, much more reactive. But their training is nothing compared to us, like scientific is nothing. They run and they, but again, genetics, all that. And I start to study and think, and from there it's just, everything makes like a big junction, and that's it. From there it's just, it hasn't stopped. I'm still learning these days, and I still take courses, and I'm still, and everything. And the sport is advanced so much, especially MMA now is advanced so much that MMA is quite new. There is not many research. Is really good stuff now with the UFCPI, and it will give us more data and things. But things are gradual, moving. We got more athletes moving to MMA. Yeah, and it's not just fighters. There's a big difference between a fighter and an athlete.
Yeah.
And all that metrics, all that things are changing. So we need to constantly, I personally constantly learn and study and things. And you always take something for, even if the course lasts, let's say, 12 weeks and think, I will take maybe a week. Okay, I needed this now.
Right,
and I might need it this in a year, or I might not need it that. But at least I know a bit. You're not going to use everything. That's something that I had to tell to myself, because I was really deep into study. So I want to study everything and do all the courses, everything. And it's not even vanity, because I don't even show or put in anything. It's just for myself. Like, at least if it's happen, I will be prepared for that situation.
Right.
And then I was like, but you're not going to use half of that. That's the reality of things. You ain't use half of that. So sometimes you just take a bit of step back and just learn, but just allow things to happen gradually.
I think it's an important way, especially in martial arts, that's a good way to be too, right? Because there's a lot of things that you don't use, but you need to know in a way, right? Because it might come at you. And I guess like where you fought yourself, like you said, 6 or 7 fights, like that's got to help you, not necessarily as a strength and conditioning coach, but like you're helping fighters, right? You know what they're going through. You can't, like if you've never done it, it's fighting's totally unique, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's something that is not a selling point, because I don't like to sell myself out in that sense. But what I'm saying, one of the things that in Europe, let's say more in Europe, that happens, it is we got a lot of strength and condition, a lot of good strength and condition coaches, but background from rugby, football, bodybuilding kind of niche. But strength and condition coach that actually fighting is really difficult to understand the IQ of a fighter. When you are inside of the ring, you are inside of the cage, position of your feet, position of your shoulders, your hand, how you got to produce force, how you got to prepare, how you got to go in, how you got to feint, all that got to place. And that is difficult. And that is the technical aspect of the sport, is the skill. And the skill is really difficult to acquire. It's like, not everyone can, let's say, go to Chelsea and, I'm going to teach you how to play football, because there is a skill. Right. There is an aspect there. And that's when I love, I watch fight every single day. I'm watching stuff every single day, position, study fighters, like different fighters, different strategies. Not every fighter can train the same, because it's not, and it's more specific. And that's why I think one of my major strengths, and like I said, in Lumpini I still teach, and I teach Thai in Lumpini, which I love it, because I'm much more into strength and condition, but that thing, it gives me a fresh eye every single day, just tiny aspects, turn your shoulder, put your feet a bit more there, understand the body, understand the hips of people is different, so sometimes you cannot have the perfect round kick that in Thai is so well known from it. The calf kicks are a new thing. You don't need much twist of your hip. You need different forces, and it's just understanding that. But it's the game. That's why I love it. It's just keep, and new things coming, and you just keep learning. So, like I said, I think that's one of my major strengths, and it is that I got that background of fighting. I still eat pads, and I still train, and I still do my thing, and I do my research, and like fighters, I study fighters. I study. Usually in Thai boxing, I used to never study the fighters. Like, of course, George had big fights, like in one championship and everything. So we seen it, like when he fought Regan Ersel. We know what Regan Ersel was capable of it. When he fought all the bigger fighters there, like Shafi, we know what was capable. So we seen it, but I didn't need to study from then, because I trained George since, so I know George since 13 or 14. Since small, kid, when I was a kid at the gym. Right. And one of the greatest things that happened as I start work at the gym, I was lucky to get George start strength and condition from quite young. So at the time in Muay Thai wasn't much strength and condition. So I think we passed that curve. When people already jump in, George was already, and George is an athlete. He's a fighter, but he's a complete athlete. The way he moves, the way he looks after his body, he's an athlete. So having that, grabbing that like as a kind of project, he gives you a lot of experience through just fighting, recovering, ability of not get injured, because it's another big thing that we have to. Fighting is unpredictable, and you cannot bulletproof. Like everyone, I got this program, I'm gonna bulletproof. You can't bulletproof anything because it's a contact sport. Yeah, I don't know what you're gonna do. You might kick my knee in.
Yeah.
It might happen, right? It happened with Shafkat when he and Gary hit Shafkat, and Shafkat had 3 or 4 operations, and they ain't gonna come back from there. And if he's gonna come back, he ain't gonna be nowhere near closer. So you cannot bulletproof, but you can prepare athletes and fighters to be more resilient to it. So you can have like tiny things to make them more resilient. And if that tiny thing's playing even just 1% on the career, perfect. And the fighter is only valid as he's fighting. If he's not fighting, ain't valid. Right. You're not going to produce any money.
And it's interesting you say that, like, because over the last few years, from sort of looking at it, like, strength and conditioning does change a little bit, right? It is more intelligent now. Like, it's more getting you ready for a fight. And as silly as that sounds, back in the day, you'd see strength and conditioning putting people through like crazy circuits, getting better numbers and stuff. But it's not about that, is it? It's about showing it in the ring or in the cage. So, like, it's an important thing to know, especially, like, that's where I think probably one of, if not the most important things, as someone who's fought. You understand that, innit? You know what I mean?
I always say this to everyone. Like, as a strength and condition, and strength is strength itself. So you want them to lift heavy. You want them to perform numbers, big deadlifts, everything. I'm the opposite. I want them to knock out on the cage. I do not give a toss if they lift 60 kilos in a deadlift. It's not great, but if you go to the cage and you smack them, I do not care, because they are fighters.
Because that's what it's for.
They are fighters. They're not Olympic lifters. They're not weight lifters. They're not power lifters. Their skill and what they do is fighters. They are professional fighters to fight, or amateur fighters. So if you go to the cage, if you go to the ring, you knock them out, happy days.
Right.
Because that's what they're doing, right? You can have the best football player in the world. If he doesn't, and I mean football because football is a global sport. If you don't do assists, if you don't score, if you are a defender, tacklers and thing, you are irrelevant because.
Well, I think people get caught up in that a lot, right? Oh, I deadlift this, I do this.
I do not care.
And it's like, I tell you the biggest thing I notice with it more is that they sort of, it tires them out for their fighting. And like fighters, their sparring's not great.
Because fighting itself is a game of egos. And there's nothing wrong to have an ego. I keep saying this to the fighters I train. You have to have an ego. You have to need to believe in yourself and create an ego. Ego doesn't mean that you got to become cocky and become. You have an ego as a fighter. Like when I fight, I remember when I fight, one of the things I used to have to do, it was running like 5K in 18 minutes in a treadmill. Wow. And that thing wouldn't give me anything, but mentally, I'm rocky, I can go forever. And one of the things I was relentless to do it, my cardio, my condition, I would not be the most technical person, but I could, and I wouldn't get tired. So that element is always on. But as a strength and condition, I need to make him lift heavy because I'm a strength and condition coach, but I make him lifting this. This actually looks a bit ridiculous here. But again, it's not the case because you are just, when we look like I said, when we look to a big picture, so if the fighter got a bucket, that bucket has to be filled by few things: condition, strength, skill, mental work, all that capacity. And you cannot fill just that thing with half of the strength, because half of the strength is going to take all the bits out. And I think that, like you said, is one of the things in these days that we got caught up. Sometimes is with the strength work, with the volume, especially in MMA. I notice now more that I train more MMA fighters now. The schedule is tight, is insane, is tight. The sessions ain't. Even a light session ain't a light session. No. Tell me, how can you go to wrestling light?
Yeah.
You ain't rolling right. Yeah, it ain't. Yeah. There is a ton of strength, isometric strength there. There is a ton of anaerobic work there. And then on the day after, you realize, and you got to do, let me fill it up this with the 10 of strength work again. It does not work. We cannot have two high days, and you need to balance high, low, and sometimes adjust it on the day. And that's fighting. Fighting is unpredictable, right? So you have to take fighting to the strength. You have to have that's why I do the same mindset that I used to have it. I take it there.
And it's
you
also
improvise.
what's going on too. Like you'll notice, like if you have been kicked in the leg the day before, listen, that's going to change your strength and conditioning a bit, isn't it? Like
Definitely.
You're supposed to squat, for example, but you're supposed to squat and you've just been kicked in the leg 7 times. Like, all right, cool. Yeah. You might have to adjust this now. Yeah.
Exactly. And this is one of the main things today. I will have sessions today, and I will usually sit, just watch the wrestling, and I will adjust like we done with Nick. Nick is fighting. Shout out to him. He's fighting this weekend for Cage Warriors title, and hopefully he'll bring the title. But with Nick, I was watching the wrestling sessions, and we manage, because it's my first camp that way. Actually, I'm on it. I actually manage and see how things, and if he's really high, maybe I need to deload a bit and actually make him feel a bit better, and working more actually on the recover side of things than actually on the strength side or on the phase of the things. Because the main issue we encounter is, in few years this thing will go. Because it will go, especially in MMA. Thai boxing, I don't know. I think boxing is still, sorry to my boxing fans and fight, is still a bit of a cult. Yeah. There is a lot of influence from skill coach. Mm-hmm. There is a lot of influence, so it's difficult to change something. We got few examples like Terrence Crawford, Steven Shakur. They went to the PI and they perform, and they put weight and they perform like no one else. Right. So you got that examples. Thai boxing will be difficult, because traditional Thai is difficult to change, because that's a sport and that's a culture. So it's difficult to change. In MMA, you will change, just because UFC is globally, it's a massive sport. Everyone wants to do it. It's good, it's fun, it's exciting. So you will change. And what's happening is, in MMA, like again, a normal sport, we can plan the year through microcycles, mesocycles, and we know the phases, we know when they're going to rest, we know when they're going to peak, and you can plan. So you got a plan. Yeah. So it's pretty easy. Okay, this is the plan, this is where you're going to fall. Yeah. We know some players is going to peak earlier, some players is going to peak late, and we understand we got a ton of data. In MMA, we don't have. We have 8 weeks, 6 weeks, 12 weeks, 4 weeks.
4 days.
4 days, and it's just unpredictable. So what we're looking in the years ahead, and especially what I want to do in years ahead, is having a program where they are ready all the time. So if you're ready all the time, and how can you be ready all the time? You can't be ready all the time.
When you say be ready all the time, do you mean sort of close? So you need a
couple
of weeks.
You can peak in 4 weeks. You can peak in 4 weeks.
Right, that's what I mean.
Because you've been ticking. Because what's happened with MMA is, now there is a bit more money on MMA and thing. But as a start, as a beginning and thing, you only do strength and condition when a fight coming, because there is this thing called a fight camp. That's why I hate fight camp. I hate the word fight camp. I only got to do strength in fight camp. And actually, the adaptations of 8 weeks never got to be fully. Right. I think it will take me much more adaptation to a strength phase, to a power phase, depending who you are, if you haven't done anything, if your movement awful, because sometimes you see great fighters and the movement is terrible. Yeah. So all that plays a part. So like I said, that in years ahead, when you got a structure where everyone is training all year round and ready to tick, we got to see a massive improvement. Because, like, again, going back to that thing, fighters only fight on the fight camp because they get paid to fight to that fight camp. They got that money to allocate to that training. They train, they pay, and then roll on till you find another fight, till you find sponsors so you can pay strength and condition again. And we train again. We might hit the pads and do the skill work in between, which is great, but that strength again is a side. And I think that's the main issue. It shouldn't be a side. You should be training every single day. Mm-hmm. Not every single day, but you should follow, like I do with George. We follow a plan every single, just sticking. Because if something comes along, I always think you shouldn't lose opportunities. You should just, I might not be at my peak, but I can give a good account.
Pretty close, yeah. You can be pretty
close to go. And I think that's the main thing now in strength. It will happen because the PI in UFC, they do a great job with data, with knowledge and everything, because it's quite important to have that numbers to see where the sport is going and how can prepare better the fighters itself.
But with you as well, there's a few things that are variable, right? Because a Thai boxer, for example, of course people have different styles, but you know kind of what they're doing. Whereas MMA, it's all over the map, right? If I'm a grappler, you're a striker, vice versa. Things change.
There's something that, again, going back to that thing, there's something I start to do in MMA that I don't do in Thai boxing. I'd watch of course, if it's like Nick, Wesley, Chanel, would they got a fight, you can watch. You can find some people. And even I watch the strength and condition sessions when they put in Instagram, I like to watch. Because roughly you know, okay, what are you training more? Because it's quite common. I don't know if you remember when Bilal was meant to fight Leon Edwards, and I think he pulled out the first time. He got injured or something.
I can't remember.
He got injured. And he was training basically just to grapple the shit out of him. Right. That's what the type of training you could see it, the holds, the isometric, the strength. And the second session, he did the same. The second time when he went, he did the same thing. And then you went and he did exactly the same thing, I think. So, and you're like, okay, so there is valuable here because it's difficult to hide. It's difficult to hide. If you got a bit of understanding, it's difficult to hide. So there is the value. So actually I start to look more into the fights. Okay, how they fighting? Because if he's a striker, let's say a striker, he's gonna need more aerobic. If he's a grappler, he's gonna be more anaerobic because he's everything explosive. So there is how can I explain? Like the training is the same, the strategy is different.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And the other one that comes to my mind with that as well, there's weight classes coming to that too.
Yeah, weight classes. And again, we are always, and it's a massive, weight class is a massive thing, especially in MMA. Yeah. Right. Thai boxing is not that much thing, but in MMA it's mad. Yeah, it's mad that someone loses 8 kilos too. Right. And you're like, and 8 kilos in me if I put 8 kilos might be a lot. 8 kilos on you might not be a lot. So it's quite tough. The weight is a tough thing because if you strength and condition well with your weight behind, it plays a massive part because we're talking a lot of in much more power, much more. Yeah, if it's well done, we're talking and we've seen it before. We've seen fighters that can refuel really well and can perform really well, and fighters that they cannot find their feet because he's not there.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. You sit there, and the more I'm talking to you now, there's so many variables that you think, right? Size, age, body type, style. There's a million different things that come into it. Is there sort of, I guess for you, like obviously you've got way more knowledge on strength and conditioning than I have or ever will, but it's more like, can you overthink it too, is what I'm trying to say? Can some home truths?
Yeah, you can overthinking a lot, especially with metrics and things like there is a lot of data. Data is good. There is this force plates now. There is that. And I do have some gear, but again, I always say to myself, and I bring myself to down, you are a strength and condition coach. You're not a sports scientist. Right. So your main goal it is to prepare that person to fight. So what is the main things that you cannot take out of it? What is the main? Condition is much more important than strength in a cage or in a ring. Yeah. Because if you are tired in that, is the worst place to be. So some people doesn't understand, they never been. Yeah. If you are tired, even I invite people that have experience, book a session, go eat pads with someone for 5 rounds, 3 minutes, and then you realize.
100%.
Now, put this into mix. Put a guy that wants to take your head off as you want to take it. Mm-hmm. Inside of that, no condition, you are in trouble.
I tell you what, do you know who Paul Reed is? MMA fighter.
Yeah.
Paul Reed, shout out Paul Reed. He was brilliant. I was down in Bristol with him. I did a session with him, a couple of sessions with him. One of the things he did with me, he got me on, the assault bike. Yeah. I did Tabata sprints, so hard.
Yeah,
bang,
20,
and like 20 seconds on, 10 off, 8 times, right? By the 5th one coming, I'm dead, right? And I'm just pushing with everything I got to get through it. I get off and I think, cool, that's it, cool, I'll get a rest. And he's like dragging me like a kid. Get to the mat, now we're hitting pads, rounds. I was like, but again, to your point, that feeling, and by the way, that's pads. I'm not got someone kicking my head, right?
That's
I'm hitting and kicking, moving, sprawl, blah, blah, blah.
The fear, because you create fear on you, that's why people don't realize.
But that feeling is like, you can't replicate that, can you?
You can do that. So there is some things when you are adding to a strength and condition, plan to it, you can take them out. The things have to be there. They have to be part of it. They have to be. That's why, like you said, back in the days we got the crazy training. Because I always make this analogy, it's quite funny, because everyone watched Rocky and seen Rocky. Yep. and you like Rocky training with the log on the back, and you got even Drago in other size training with all things, and you're thinking Rocky is the greatest training, but even Drago is the one who training properly. Yeah, if you're looking back, he's like in a PI, and Rocky is like the crazy one. You don't want to be Rocky. Yeah? You want to be Rocky in the mind, but you don't want to train like Rocky because they ain't gonna work. He doesn't work. But is that? But again, like.
You just killed my childhood. What do you mean you don't want to be Rocky?
Yeah,
how dare you? Shame on you.
And you got that training and that, okay. But again, the mind when it comes to that is so many different. That's why I love it, because not everyone is the same.
Right.
So when I do it, I'm like, okay, how can I make? Okay, how can this happen? And you play only a little part. I keep saying to everyone, because there is a lot of. Sometimes people say, you strength and condition coach or this, you do that, you make that, but you play only a little part. They got to fight, they got to do all that. That is the hardest job. Yeah. That is the hardest job. You play a tiny bit, a tiny part. They are the stars.
I think it's important for you to know that, because a lot of strength and conditioning coaches.
Yeah, do you want to be the star? You can be the star. Star of what?
Yeah.
I'm privileged to be part of their journey. That this take us here, and I'm part of your journey. I take your loss as my loss, I do, because it's something that even sometimes I have to make a peace with myself. I'm like, they have to win or they have to do. And fighting is the most ungrateful. I can have the best camp in the world and jump there and get whacked in one and it's gone. And I had the best weight cut, the best, and I feel 1 million, and it happens. And is how you deal with that is another thing. But you play a part, is a team. Fighting is a team. And if you don't know your position on a team, maybe it's not for you then. Maybe it's not for you.
Right? Exactly. Because
maybe it's not for you.
But you touched on it earlier. It's like, you can get, for example, bench press. You're right. You can get someone bench pressing more and all that. And I've been there with people and listen to them talk, and they go like, but look, he's bench pressing more. It's like, mate, he ain't bench pressing. He's going in there to fight. He's fighting. He's going downhill. I'm giving a basic example, but it makes sense, right? You know what I mean? Because strength conditioning coaches now, I've had few on here, and like. All the ones, lucky enough, have been sort of that mindset. They do things slightly differently, don't get me wrong, but they're all of that sort of like, they know their place, they're doing it for this. It's not about numbers, you know what I mean?
It's a team, it's part of the team. Like I'm always been, like I said, the things will come with like that energy and things will click. And of course I was in Lumpini and I've been in few things. When I go to Rio, I will go to Novo União, and I stay in Novo União. I got few friends in Novo União. And you see things and whatever, then top team came along, and I link with people, because you have to know if you can work with them too. There is ethic behind, right? Because some people, if you cannot work, sometimes if you cannot agree, you can't work, and there's nothing wrong as you say, listen, I cannot work with you. Because it's a team. To be part of the team, you need to be deep down in with them. You need to be on the trenches. You need to be on the trenches with them. You need to be deep down and think. And if you don't know what's your place on the team, and you want to take someone else highlight of the play, it ain't gonna work. Right. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. That's one of the things actually. Down into my Instagram, I done it. I said I don't gotta show any work that I do with my athletes, because the Instagram is relating to my page, to me as a person, as a coach, is me. If you want anything, it's from me, not from my coach. I can put George there with his 8-pack. I can put Nick with his 8 West with this. That's genetics, and that's years of work. Why should I take credit?
Right.
No. It doesn't. So you need to know your place on it, and you need to respect your place. That's why I said. That's why I do, and like I said, it's different approaches, different things.
Seems to be working though, mate. Seems to be.
As long as you work,
you got some success.
As long as I don't work, I don't care.
Which we'll come to in a minute. But let's go back a step for now, because you're from Portugal originally. Which part are you from? Where are you from?
I'm between Lisbon and Faro, so I'm from I think 8,000 people living in this town. The town are actually called Saint Andre.
Okay.
So.
And you was a footballer as a kid?
Yeah, everyone is playing football.
Good footballer?
And thing. In Portugal you always good, but I had a really bad. I was really asthmatic, really young.
Okay.
So, anytime I would do good, winter would come, and my dad like, you can't do this. I'm not gonna put you in football, because I was in hospital actually quite a lot and things. So it was quite hard. And it's funny because I remember to always being in hospital. This only happened when you go to hospital, you bad. Like remember to beat my mask, and I'm like, one day I'm gonna do something. something relating to sport, or because it's like a separation thing. And I done it. I run like under the came ultramarathon, and I done few things, and my asthma is clear, and I done all that thing. But I always used to have that thing in mind. I didn't even know where I was fighting, what was it, football, what was it, whatever would be at the time. But yeah, I'm from there. It's quite small town. Nothing happened. My parents was good as gold. I had a brother, my sister. My brother was a bit older, so we always fighting, always watching thing and fighting like friendly, not friendly, but fighting thing. And that's it. Was pretty cool there. Then I moved to Lisbon when I was maybe 20, study a bit of music in Lisbon.
Music, man, you've done everything.
Yeah, music, because my uncle in Portugal is a big DJ.
Okay.
DJ. And there, funny enough, I had another friend there, who was a friend of my uncle, that had a lot of Valtude DVDs.
Oh,
yeah? And we had this Portuguese, we had a guy in, don't quote me on this, but we had a guy in Portugal that came from Brazil. His name was Bullet. And the guy was a weapon. He was a bouncer. And I think he got in trouble because don't quote me to, but he had all that DVDs and things. So me and my friend, I remember we used to watch that thing, and we're talking of Pride, big years of Pride, and even had some Valtude from Brazil, the one they done it in Rio.
Bare knuckle.
Bare knuckle, where they had Johnny who fought Leon Edwards on, not Leon Edwards, he fought Nathaniel Wood. Johnny, I think it's the first fight of Nathaniel Wood.
John Lineker, is it Lineker?
Johnny is from Nova União. You know Johnny.
Okay.
So they had, and he had a lot of fed by Baixinho too, small, and they had a lot of. So we had all that DVDs, and I was like, wow, this is just next level.
Okay.
It's next level. So always been fighting has always been quite present around. I never seen it. I always do this exercise. I said, if my granddads and my grandmother, they passed away a few years ago, if I told them what I do these days, you would be almost, not ashamed because of course I'm his grandkid, he wouldn't be, but you'd be, what this guy is doing.
You're crazy,
what he's doing, because this ain't a work, He's not, what is that?
Not a job.
Yeah, it's not a job, It's not a 9-to-5 job and thing, but I always do that. But fighting has always been present, always been present in some ways. I remember Eurosport in Portugal used to do all the big K1 tournaments. Yeah. And me and my brother used to, all that style is like.
Did your brother fight?
No. We only fight each other. And he's terrible with the pads. Sometimes I try to teach him. He's back to Portugal. He was here with me for a bit. I try to teach him, and I'm like, you are terrible.
Oh, really? What happened, bro? You used to beat me up.
You are terrible. Yeah, that's why you are terrible. You are terrible. But we watch and think, and... But yeah, fighting has always been around.
I think a certain type of man is always around from a kid.
Yeah,
you've always liked it. It's always been there. But what brought you to England in the first place?
He was my partner at the time. My ex-wife at the time was here, and I was like, oh, things was fine, it was going well, and I just moved on. And it was really hard, I must say. It was really hard. I'm never going to be the person that sweet talk, because I had a really good life in Portugal. It is what it is. I'm not rich, nothing, but my parents always done everything they could for us. And because the thing is, I'm a simple man. So you got good food, you got sun, you don't have any worries. Life is good. You can do whatever you want, right? Life is good. You don't need much in life to make yourself. So life in Portugal was quite good. I was working in a big factory there, and I could do everything and anything. And then I moved here, and here was a reality check. It was because, of course, it's England and this, that, and you came here, it's a massive clash of cultures. You don't know your neighbor. Because in my parents' town, I can leave the door open and then come. I can go back, and I don't know anyone anymore, but they know who I am. And is that family center. That's it. That's why I find it really related with gyms and with my people and my athletes, because I create this family. You create. I care for them, and this is my biggest thing as a coach is caring for my athlete. That's my biggest thing. I would never do anything that would put him in risk for it. So is that care and the thing. But I think it was in the gym you find that bonding and thing, and from there it's like a family, and you stick together and you are together.
Especially in the fight gym, right? You become close.
They know your problems, they know your troubles, they know when you're up, they know when you're down, and that's probably what I found back when you're looking for a home, because I'm not in Portugal. Probably I feel at home in the gyms. I feel at home in Lumpini, I feel at home here, because you find that common ground and you are yourself without no worries or no expectations of nothing else.
Yeah, that makes sense. But like with the strength and conditioning coaches now, like you are literally part of the team, aren't you? And that becomes It's not like a personal training session back in the day. You see them once a week and thanks, and I'll see you later. You're part of the team. How often do you like to see a fighter, or is that quite different for people as well?
Like it's different for people, and it's different for schedules, and is the way in Top Team I'm here every Friday, so I will usually see the people I train here Fridays, but they got my app to train one. They have to train once by themselves, so usually twice is perfect.
That's ideal. Is that
ideal for me? Is twice, full body. Don't bro split the training.
No biceps.
Don't bro split the training.
You've just lost half the crowd, bro. They're like, nah, I need bigger arms.
Full body and think. But again, it's depending where you are in camp. What do you need in camp? How much you're doing? Because I think the main thing for MMA fighters, and this is, I'm actually taking job out of myself. They're doing too much.
Yeah,
sometimes deloading is the best strength and condition that you can be.
Like an easy.
You sit there and you just deload everything. Okay, you're not gonna do this. You're not gonna. Yes, I feel good. Because that's why you should feel. When you go to the cage, you need to be buzzing. You need to.
Right.
When you eat pads, you don't eat pads heavy. You don't want to go. And you've done it. When you eat pads and you are clicking everything, you're like, I'm the man. I can take anyone. But when you are, shoulder is niggling, my hip is going, my leg is going, my calf, and you're like, you gotta endure that, because it's fighting, it's a camp. You gotta endure that, and through sparring and through stuff. But you have to try to avoid that.
Well, it goes back to what we were saying earlier, isn't it? It's about fight night, isn't it? It's not about a Wednesday afternoon hitting the pads.
That's why it makes strength and condition for it more challenging. Right. You train for 1 day, you train for 1 hour, you train for 5 minutes, you train maybe for 10 seconds.
Yeah. And it's done. Yeah, that's it.
It's done.
You're not training for a marathon.
Let's bring something. So Lonnie is fighting Brandon Moreno, right? Lonnie is fighting Brandon Moreno. Massive fight for Lonnie. That thing might be just 10 seconds. Lonnie might go there and do it in 10 seconds. Imagine if he was thinking, I don't know much the ins and outs, but imagine, maybe I ain't taking the fight because it's Brandon Moreno, or I might not do this because it's this or that. But I might go there and it might be 10 seconds. I got the ability, and if I believe that ability can be applied, I'm going to do it. Because it might be only last 10 seconds. Right? You know what I mean? It is what it is. That's fighting. Like again, if I go back to Thai, George, I don't know if you see much of George. He's in one championship, second, incredible. Not as a Thai fighter, because for me one championship is not Thai anymore. The smaller gloves, that thing is relentless. Like in MMA, you get them knockout, you are out. There you count it, you get up, and you get an. So it's different, even. But just the ability to put that thing in practice and know that you can win in 10 seconds or you can lose in 10 seconds, that's a big thing. And like this last fight he took against Regan Arsel, he lost and he was quite quick. But you learn from that. And as you lose I lost in 30 seconds, I can kill in 30 seconds too. He gives you the belief too, I can do this too.
Yeah.
So that links again with what I say, you should be ready all the time. If that fight comes and for some reason you miss that opportunity, that maybe, and you miss it because I wasn't ready, and you're not ready. Why? If you are professional, if this is your sport,
should be year round.
You should be. We got in these days, and again, you got the ChatGPTs, you got online, you got everything and anything. There is a ton of stuff there out there. Just research. You will come up with something. That is better than nothing. I believe so.
Yeah.
Something is better than nothing.
Something's better than nothing. And sometimes keeping things simple works, doesn't it? You know
fundamentals. Yeah. The basic thing in strength and condition, it is fundamentals. Strip back things. Reverse engineering things. What I mean reverse engineering, fighters will sprint. What is before of sprinting? Maybe hopping. What is before of hopping? Mobility. And it's just reverse things to bear.
Right.
So I seen this Zerker squat is massive, is beautiful. Just squat. I don't care what to use. You can use a lot. Again, now I'm gonna go back. You can be Rocky.
We go back Rocky again.
Yeah,
we can do it.
You can use a log.
Yeah, of course.
You are training under
training partner, right? Lift you up and squat.
Doesn't really matter. You are working under tension.
Yeah.
You are working strength. That's it. So fundamentals is the basic of training. For me, it's fundamentals, and like my sessions ain't nothing flashy or anything. It's fundamentals because it's fundamentals, and understand the fundamentals because then you got other things like the Olympic liftings and this, which is great. It's great if you know how to apply Olympic lifting because Olympic lifting is a sport itself. That's why it's in the Olympic Games. Yeah. So how can you supplement a sport with a sport? It does not happen.
No.
In any other sport in the world, we supplement a sport with a sport. Why should you do it? If my fighter is not proficient in that movement, I will find a solution that will be proficient and will give me the same outcome. I do not care if he looks good, if he looks bad. If it's the desired outcome I wanted from that session, if the fighter is happy with that, if he applies on the cage, happy days, I don't care.
Right, yeah. And yeah. I mean, it's painfully simple, isn't it, when you think
it's
of it
simple.
That way.
It's actually simple than people think. It's actually simple than actually people make it. Because again, they make almost this untouchable. And it's one of the things I try to do with my thing is be approachable to everyone and actually help people. Because when I was in that position, I would like to be helped.
Right.
I would like someone to come to me and rather than you do this, just do this simple and thing and see how it works. Yeah. And you would take and you're like, oh, okay, this is great.
Yeah, I've got right. And do you mess around with a weight cut at all? Are you part of that process, or is that not your?
I actually lost a bit of weight this match, but I used to fight at 57.
Yeah, okay.
But I used to walk around 62, so I wouldn't
not too crazy.
I wouldn't go too crazy or anything. I've always been quite
But with your
small.
fighters, do you help them with their weight cut? Or is that
No. I've been around, but it's not. Again, you need to know where the nutritionist will come. It's part of the team, and it's their job, and they study for it, and you need to respect.
Right, of course. Because the only reason I ask is like obviously when you say strength. It implements you getting stronger, which means bigger at times, right? Which is not always the case.
Yeah,
but
not
you know
always the case.
But like, do you have to like sort of have communication with the nutritionist?
Sometimes some of them, but I will have my main port of feedback. It will be the fighter.
Right.
Sometimes I'm in these fight groups with the fighters, with the whole of the skill coach. It happens more with boxing. Right. They like to have that more control and thing. So we are a part of it. But again, it's funny that you say strength means big, but strength sometimes doesn't mean big. Yeah?
Not actual strength.
It doesn't mean big.
It means getting stronger.
So it's just a phase. It's just a phase. Because, of course, let's say if you start absolute strength, max strength, the first phase, and then we got to dwell a bit of accumulation with hypertrophy, maybe that phase you don't need it. If you don't want to put volume, maybe you got to dwell more into max strength with a bit of power, so the speed will advance a bit, and just see it how it goes and how it grows, because it's like I said, this is actually quite important, because when you get a new fighter in, the body will change quite dramatically quick. So you need to be ready how the body is going to change. It's got to change that. You got to put volume and you got to be a bit heavier, or it's got to just change a bit, but it's not going to actually make much difference on the weight. So you have to like I said, is strategy. Everything, you have to have a good strategy.
I got you. What you got coming up now, mate? Because as you said, fighting Nick at the weekend.
So it's big. So we got Nick this weekend, Cage Warriors. Then we'll have George Jarvis is fighting in one championship, Sinsamut, big fight in Thailand, one championship Saturday night. No, Paulo is going there with John and think we have to look after the gym.
Right.
And then we got Wes.
Shout out Wesley Meyer.
Wesley Meyer fighting. Then we got Chanel, UFC. Oof. Then we got Gabriel. Gabriel is fighting in Liverpool. And I think Sinead got something booked. It's like non-stop.
It's non-stop, right? Because as soon as that goes round,
that's
Nick will be back in.
and that's something that I want to implement now. As soon as they back and think, I want them back to the gym.
Yeah.
We strip things back to bare minimal. We go back to general physical preparation, quality of movement, normal movement, simple movement. Try to take anything that might creep up down to the camp when the camp is coming, and that's something that I want to do. That's something I done it with George always. We always have that phases and thing, but it's something he never stops, and he shouldn't stop.
You got to be a full-time athlete now, aren't you? You know, if you
Yeah, you need to be full on. You need to be. You need to. There's no half measures. You can do this half measure in this day and age. You cannot half measure.
Yeah.
If you half measuring, you will be really lucky, and you will end up find out. You will end up find out. You can take corners. You can cut corners in this day and age.
I got you. Well, mate, listen, this has been brilliant. It's been so interesting to talk to you. I'm sure we'll stay in touch as things go on. Before we finish, I don't know if you've seen any of these before. Most important question I'm going to ask you. You mentioned football, so I'm hands together. Like, let's get the right answer. Which football team you support?
Porto.
All right, I can take that.
Portugal,
I can take that because we nicked your manager once, Jose. Chelsea's the correct
and in England I will go to Chelsea, and I go actually Chelsea.
There you go.
So I'm blue. I'm blue, and because of Mourinho, and actually before Mourinho, because we had a player. We had a player in Portugal that used to, and he was quite funny. He used to play like Farmers League, and then he became really good. Was Jimmy Hasselbank.
Oh, another Chelsea legend.
So I saw Jimmy Hasselbank. I actually saw Jimmy Hasselbank playing in a sand pitch. I don't know if in the UK actually you got sand pitch.
Yeah. Well, not in the UK, but I know what you're talking about.
Well, okay, we're talking that, and then he became all of that thing. That's why we started to follow Chelsea back in the days in Portugal.
Way back in the day.
Way back in the day.
Well, Mourinho was, changed my life, right? As a teenager when he came, my club went up there. So
then you got Mourinho, and you got few great Portuguese players like Carvalho and Paulo Ferreira. You got few legends coming there. Deco. There, so I'm Porto, and in England I like Chelsea.
You can stay. You're welcome back anytime you like, my man. But listen, I always finish with a fist up like this, mate. Squeeze the neck. Boom!